I thought it was one that I walked in. Oh. I have a couple layers on, so. Oh. It's not COVID, I've tested negative.
No, I think that's not there.
There we are.
Yeah, that.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I haven't had a cold in years.
So,
Yeah.
anti administration, that's Steve. Okay. We ready? I think it's 6 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. Good evening. This is the meeting of the Plainfield Select Board. My name is Jim Volz. I'm the chair of the board. With me is Tim Davis, a board member, and Patty Jamel, our new board member. And we welcome her and appreciate her joining us, volunteering to get involved with this. Well, any of the help we can get is.
You might want to say that one more time. Patty.
It's Jameli.
Jameli, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't really get it. I didn't say it. Anyway, so are there any changes to the agenda? Any announcements?
You know,
No announcements of events, upcoming events or not.
Can you please announce who's in the room that we can't see?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's right. The camera doesn't catch everybody. Carol Smith, Michael Bingham, Graham, yeah, Michael Billingsley, Graham Tobin, Linda Wells, the 3 board members, and Eric Blaisdell, the reporter.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks for reminding me about that. Any announcements then? Any other announcements? All right, town clerk's report. Oh, wait, yeah, go ahead. Public comment. Sorry.
What I wanted to ask is a very general question. In the last 2 months, there have been a procession of special select board meetings on the 2nd and 4th Monday of each month, because the regular select board meeting are on the 1st and 3rd Monday.
Right.
And I was wondering if this is the preference of our select board. First question is, why wouldn't you just change the regular select board meeting to be the 2nd and 4th Monday? And the second question, is there any reason that it's been the 1st Monday and the 3rd Monday? And that has to do with state regulations, right?
we always said it first and third.
So you're saying why can't we go back to that?
Well, no, or why don't, in other words, since this seems to be the regular pattern, why you wouldn't on the town website announce that the regular select board meetings are the 2nd and 4th Monday?
Make it
Just
make it
switch.
clear.
When did the school board meet? I know we can't meet the same night as that.
Maybe somebody knows, when is the school board meeting?
Oh, good, okay.
Okay. Originally, we used to meet the 1st and 3rd, and then when the holidays were coming up last fall, that lined up with a number of holidays, and we decided to go to 2nd and 4th with the holidays. It was always our intention of going back, but we can go do it either way. You guys, how do you guys feel? Would you rather have it
I
on?
honestly have no
We
preference.
could also pick a different night. It doesn't have to be a Monday, or we'd like to avoid Tuesday.
I think that if there's no reason not to, just keep on the pattern we're on right now until it collides with holidays again or something, maybe we can switch back, but I don't see why we're on a every 2 weeks thing now. We may as well
Let's keep going.
stick with it unless someone has a reason why not to.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess if Bob Fancher is on the call, he could change. We're gonna stick with 2nd and 4th meetings as our regular meetings now. And so Bob, if you could change that on our website, that would be great.
He's muted.
I know, I see that, but hopefully he heard me. If not, we'll relay it on later. Okay, that was a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hadn't even realized we stuck with the same thing.
Any other public comment? I don't see anybody's hand up. No one here seems to want to make comments, so we'll move on. Town clerk's report.
Right, I just, I want to stay focused on, obviously, the top priority is picking a day for the town meeting.
Yeah.
We are not going to really have enough information to make that decision for probably another 2 weeks.
Okay,
And
that's related to the auditor, right?
that's
Right.
related to, well, let's
Well, no,
let's be clear. I mean, we are meeting actually the group, the auditors, Linda and I are gonna be meeting tomorrow. In the afternoon, we've had a lot of correspondence and talks back and forth about a bunch of different issues. But this isn't a situation where the auditor can step in and look at the numbers. This has to do with generating the data. So, and there are a couple of things about that. I think that we need to, I think, you know, look forward and not dwell too much on things that maybe have gone wrong. And I think that the best way of doing that is to recognize that we're going to have to, in order to get things back on track, we're going to have to spend some money to get to where we want to be.
Okay.
And I don't think that this is, I don't say that casually. I was on the select board and I am not interested in spending money where we don't have to, but I think that we have to have Linda on board for the next couple of months, and expense of you know, roughly in terms of 30 hours a week.
Administrative assistant.
Yes.
Are you talking about
Kristen.
Kristen?
Kristen,
Yeah,
sorry,
okay.
what did I, sorry,
The admin assistant.
sorry, I meant Kristen, so
Yeah.
Kristen, I think if we have Linda on board. And we have the admin working 30 hours a week. I think that I just want to say that you know, it really is a tribute to the town spirit that we have such dedicated employees like Carol really stepping up, spending extra hours and doing all that. Had a very good meeting today with you know, a road crew, Michael Bingham, with all the adverse weather, you know, we had a very good meeting regarding getting some money in order to get reimbursed on the flood. And so I think that there's a lot of good people and there's a lot of positive energy, but we have to understand that it's going to cost a little money to get us on track. And I think that going forward, what we really should focus on is once, you know, we have a sense of the financials and we're in a more steady shape, we should also really strengthen the discussion about the roles of the town clerk, the treasurer. Should they be two separate people? Should maybe one of them work fewer days a week? And that way, I've solicited a bunch of job descriptions from other towns in terms of how they manage that job. And the reason is that things can fall through the cracks. Like, for example, when Linda was town clerk, she assumed a lot of the administrative responsibility for the road stuff. Now, that's not something that's like on the written description. So what happened with the changeover is Michael Bingham, the road foreman, assumed a lot of that paperwork. And I think it should, you know, go back to the clerk or somebody in town administration, because we need Michael focusing on the roads. And I think that.
And he's okay with that, moving it back?
Oh, yeah, no, he's.
He'd
be
prefer that.
He's
Pretty overwhelmed.
very
Yeah,
excited.
Yeah,
I think that he's not looking forward to meetings like we had today.
Yeah,
We're
right.
talking to the, you know, the state guy about, you know, how to get.
and we need a road commissioner. again.
Well, one of the things that I think that we also should try to open for discussion is if the voters approve a 5-person board. I know the town of Brookfield, the way they structure their town is that there's 5 people on the select board, and each select board member has an area that they're focused in. So rather than maybe having a separate road commissioner, we should have that as one of the select board people, and also have a frank discussion about, compensation for the select board, which I would note for everybody who doesn't know, the select board is, all three. I think the annual compensation is $3,800 or something like this. So I think that for the amount of scrutiny and hardship and all that, I think we have to really think about, in a broad sense, what we should maybe offer some sort of compensation. Because we need, we're heading into a situation where we're competing for funds to do all the work. I was casually talking with the state guy about the costs of doing these bridges and doing this kind of stuff, and it's extraordinarily expensive.
Right.
And if you get into the right program, you can get a 90% to cover the costs, but that still leaves 10%. So just an overall thing. So I think going forward, what we want to do is understand that we have to have some resources to get us over the hump here, and then have a broad, very public discussion about the roles of different people in town government, the town clerk, the treasurer, do job descriptions and make sure that nobody is too overwhelmed. Because I think that when people get overwhelmed, they start, not following through on things, and that's where you run into
Balls get dropped.
bigger
Balls get dropped.
balls get dropped.
And I wonder if I could step in on a question here, because
Yeah.
there's something very relevant that's been on my mind for about 3 months. You're familiar with who Paul Sharon is, the FEMA guy? Paul started to call me or send copies to me of everything he did with Robin, the clerk, in order that somebody else besides just Robin was aware of the deadlines that were needed for FEMA road reimbursements and particularly the highway expenses related to the flood. At the end of, I guess, April, no, excuse me, this is April. At the end of November, he decided to actually do her work for her. He said that he had a report that was due. He didn't think it was likely she would have it done. And so he actually did something very out of character for any state or federal official. He took over her job and did the paperwork and the reporting and the financials for something that needed a federal deadline. My question to Bram and Linda and maybe Carol is, how does it look now in terms of what is called public assistance with regard to meeting the deadlines for FEMA?
I'm having a meeting on Monday with the FEMA person, and I think things are I think things are on track. I'll find out after the meeting on Monday. This Brook Road. So the meeting today, like why would we be meeting two different people about the flood? So FEMA covers the flood broadly. My meeting today was specifically regarding Brook Road because that has a designation that makes it available for federal funding through a different program.
Yes.
So, I'll know more next week. Carol and Kristen have been incredible in terms of locating the very voluminous amount of paperwork that you need. So, we're talking not just receipts, we're talking time cards and all the bills and all that other stuff. I'm happy to say that we have, I spent a lot of time photographing a lot of the damage, and that has helped in terms of all those geotag photos help also. So I think we're okay, but I think
I just want to say that the reason I asked is not because I doubted that this was moving forward.
Yeah.
It's rather that as emergency management director, I've been, as each town does, I've been sort of the person watching from above to make sure the processes are going forward. I took over individual assistance completely with the understanding that Robin was going to take over public assistance completely. And then, but I did want
Well,
to kind of hover in the background.
Right, well, I think the important thing to understand is that. Whatever did or didn't happen, the whole thing is that the jobs are not clearly defined.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm
Somebody might have assumed the position and is very in their right to say. Well, that's not really part of the job description because, you know, and just because somebody else did it. So
Yeah.
I think that that's where a discussion about the different roles and what specifically the town clerk and the treasurer do.
Well, I think you said it's okay. I mean, in the sense that what I knew was that there was a separate set of criteria for Brook Road and the rest of the other roads. And I knew from Paul Sharon that certain things had moved in a certain way, and the next thing was the Brook Road thing. It sounds like you've got it covered, so that's really the answer.
Well, I'll know on my FEMA meeting is Monday, but I mean, I'm feeling okay. I mean,
Great.
you know.
It's a big job.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, no, I just, so I just want to say that I think that we need to, you know, have more public discussion and more public involvement in the shaping of these roles and understand. So I think people don't understand, and I will do my best to get a lot of the issues that we're facing in front of people, because I think one of the unfortunate things is that because the school budget and the school tax bill and the town bill are in the same bill, we get unfortunately a lot of pushback about, you know, they have their costs have gone up exponentially. I'm not commenting whether that's good or bad, but I think that people don't realize that we have really stretched a dollar here in terms of town government. And unfortunately, you know, people are gonna have to understand that if they want services and so forth, that it doesn't come for free, and we're gonna have to make choices and decisions, and that has to be a public discussion. So
Yeah.
I just want everybody to know that I think we have a great team of dedicated people to the town. And you know, I think that we just need to focus, and we'll get through this. You know, Linda will have a more detailed understanding of how the budget situation is, and you know, she can report next meeting as to where we are and how things are looking, so forth. I didn't print out the current budget thing until I want to feel a little more comfortable with how things are.
Okay,
So,
we're not up to the budget yet on the agenda. We're gonna be talking about that, so
okay, well, I'll be happy to stay in state for that. So,
that's right after your report. So
okay, well, if you want
We can roll it in.
Sounds like he's not ready to.
Well, yeah,
We're
we're
gonna
not.
have to have.
I think that the you know, the rough numbers we're talking about would be, I think, for Linda to stay on for the next 2 months would probably cost in the neighborhood of $10,000, and to expand Kristen's role for the year would be probably, I think the total would be like 30 hours a week. It can to 32,000 or 34,000. Those are sort of ballpark numbers. Now, I don't, you know, I know those are big numbers for a town our size, but I think that you know, in order for us to sort of move forward, I think we should, you know, put that money aside.
So you're
Into the budget for this.
So one of the items on our agenda tonight is amend approved town budget. You're saying you shouldn't do that tonight.
I don't think we should do
Okay.
that tonight.
I just want to clarify that.
Right.
And then you'll be making a recommendation for our next meeting, or how?
Right, hopefully the next meeting.
Okay,
I gotta
great.
see sort of how.
Yeah,
things
that's
are
fine. I
all
just wanted to
together,
understand.
and we'll, you know, I'm trying to have things in a sort of uniform way, so when it presents to you, you understand, you know, where
Yeah.
we've been and where we're going, and I think if I present it to you now, it's
Yeah,
not.
that makes sense.
Okay, great.
I'm just quickly curious if you're going to be added, there were a couple of obvious omissions from the budget, like Kristen's full
Yes.
salary and stuff. Are you planning on plugging those numbers?
Yeah, I would put in the numbers that I just mentioned to
Okay,
you. And
Yeah, I want to make sure that will not
Carol,
our responsibility.
We should talk to Kristen first, because I don't think that she forever was gonna work that many hours.
Yeah, that was my second question, is
Yeah.
Linda and Kristen willing to even do that?
Presumably you're gonna talk to them and you'll be proposing a budget
Yeah.
that works, and everybody's in agreement.
yes, I'll talk to them.
Great.
I
And then
say
that
that,
payroll tax.
I would also say that Linda, is stepping up and asking for half of what she's worth.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, I appreciate her coming in and all the volunteering she's done
Yeah.
already.
I will say, I called Linda and I didn't even say hello, Linda, I said, help.
Yeah.
And here she is, here she is. Yay. She was willing to come on a volunteer basis, but we had no idea it would be so much,
Sure.
and that's not fair to her.
I totally agree.
And I could say I asked Kristen, or at least I asked through Carol, if Kristen would be available to work more hours when we were in that post-flood period, and we were really jammed administratively, and at the time she was not available, so it's possible she might not be again.
Yeah. Okay,
We'll find it.
Thanks, everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right, what about, are we up to any other transition update stuff?
I was curious about if you got a second quote on the computer stuff.
Oh, yeah,
That's
so,
it.
yeah,
Oh, sorry, I thought you were moving.
I have, update on this.
right, so, okay. The checks that I got on the first proposal that was given was, they're very, very solid shop. I went out to check out other shops that were good. This Orensby company's name came up, and I didn't even realize at the time, but I was talking to Bobby Brimblecombe. She raves about them. They are they do Marshfields as well as some other towns.
Yeah.
I think they do. I think they do.
No, they used to have, they used to have an office in that.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's a big
The-
computer store.
Right, exactly.
The IT,
Closed that.
the IT
Yeah.
people in Barry sounds really good. So it's a little bit of a different sort of scale. I think that they're more used to working with shops that are closer to our size. So I was hoping that we would have, I was really pushing them to get me something for tonight's meeting, but it didn't happen.
Okay.
But here's the thing, so I think that the difference will be that I think the hardware price will probably be the same. I don't know what that's gonna be, 15, 20, 25, whatever it is. But their attitude toward service is not to charge us $1,000 a month, but rather it's basically per call, per incident.
Right.
And they seem very responsive, and seem like I have a really good attitude. So I look forward to having, and I'm sorry, I mentioned to you, Tim, that I was gonna send you. They already sent me their what their policy is in terms of maintenance. I
No,
will send
yeah,
that-
I get it. I think I get it broadly, and I
Yeah,
think it's a better approach
but
for
yeah,
our
I'll
small.
send it to
office.
you, and when believe me, when their report hits, I think they probably just got with the weather, things one side.
So they're supposed to send you something, is that?
Yeah, they were gonna send me a proposal,
So once you get that, and then when you put together your budget, for
yes,
next time, that can all be part of the whole
yes,
package.
yes,
right? Okay,
absolutely, great.
Yes.
Great, anything else on technology infrastructure needs? Anything else from you? Because we're done with I think we're done with your issues, unless you want to talk about muddy sidewalks.
I know, that you're talking about the one on Route 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
follow up on issue of muddy sidewalks, that was Tim's
Yeah.
issue, he got an email from the state about that.
I did, yeah, I think I got from you, there was I got the number
District
wrong.
6.
Yeah, I emailed 7, but the guy was nice enough to connect me with District 6.
Okay, we go back and forth. We used to be.
Okay.
That's why we used to. Do
That was,
District 6, okay.
I'll use that as an excuse then. not-
Yes.
Unfortunately, the person for District 6 was on vacation, they'll be back in a couple days. So I'm still waiting to hear from them if they're gonna come out and clean up that sidewalk. And if they say no to me, then I'm planning on reaching out to that contractor that we have for the
Wow.
plowing the sidewalks in the village already, to see if it's something they could do one time, just to help those people
What
out.
it'll cost.
And what it would cost, yeah, for a quote, yeah.
Right, the challenge, just to reiterate, our road crew would do it, but.
They don't have a small enough machine.
Yeah, exactly, and they have to be blocking it too.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things historically, the state was really responsible for Route 2. Unfortunately, they have not, obviously through cuts, they have not been as responsive in terms of cleanup in the spring as they used to do, and they also push a lot of this stuff onto the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I also should add that, because I was over there, where our houses are that we're doing the buyout with. I checked the whole length of the sidewalk on foot, and because I was in correspondence with the Section 6 road chief about the pole office collapsing by Route 2. I just brought up the same points basically, so he's heard it from several people.
Okay.
Right, just,
Calling you.
okay, I'm glad you actually brought that up. On where the collapse is on Route 2. I've contacted the Agency of Transportation because there is a lot of talk about actually moving Route 2 a little bit over, which would be a big deal for us, because what would happen is that they'd set up a detour to 214, but all the local people are going to end up cutting through Middle and Lower Road. So I have a note into AOT to tell me what's going on. And I haven't heard back yet, but.
Can I step in because I've been in active
Go ahead,
conversation?
sure, absolutely.
Yeah, from the very beginning, when we warned them that it was going, in other words, George Sprinkston and I were monitoring that bank, and when it started to collapse, from an emergency management perspective, and George, from a geologic perspective, were very aware. He said he'd been waiting for 20 years for that collapse to start. And so if he confirmed that it was happening, I spent a lot of time on the other side of the river. I was sending photographs to the state garage so that they would see the sections that were coming loose. They acted on it very quickly. And the thing that makes important sense to say here is that there is one geotechnical team that does the entire state. And that geotechnical team goes to the places with the highest priority and starts trying to find out what's going on under the ground. And that roadside stop became the top priority for the state, which is why they're there now. They've done corings down at least 60 feet. They're looking for places where water is running horizontally under the surface. So because that is, it's slipping pretty fast. There's lots of cracks opening up in the direction of the highway, which could mean it could sheave off at any time and that whole picnic table could go to the bottom. At my request, they moved the big boulder that was there with the bronze plaque on it, because that was a special commission for the family it's named after. And so they moved that to the town garage. So Michael Bingham has that in safe storage. It'll come back later. But the other possibility that the geotechnical team was out there today, and pretty much every day, is that they are also looking for ledge. In other words, something to anchor a remedial solution to. And I'm not sure, because I'm waiting for that report back from Kevin Gadeby about what the outcome is of the drilling. But if they find ledge, they might be able to stabilize the bank and not have to move the road. But if they don't find ledge, it's just a matter of time before the whole thing slides into the river, in which case they will have to move the road and buy property from Goddard to be able to do that. So that would be my status.
And the state would be doing.
The state would be completely responsible.
Would be a cost to us.
No,
Not at all.
but our
Just
back
the-
roads
yeah,
are.
just the
We
inconvenience.
it's driving a
But-
long
but
way
it's-
to get to work.
But as Grant points out, it's gonna be, first of all, it's not a fast project. It's gonna be a long,
Right.
long, several months project. And secondly, it needs all that
We
rerouting.
will have to apply. I mean, you know,
It will
it's even though they're
One month.
officially.
They can't, I don't think.
I don't even know that they're gonna do one lane. I think they might close it
Yeah.
for a few weeks or something, but the bottom line is that that's gonna really increase traffic on our roads. And I talked to a couple of people, and we'll hopefully be able to get some funds for that.
Okay.
We have to apply, but they don't even have a date or anything. So it's
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna have to move the highway probably 80 feet to the north.
Yes.
And because they want to stabilize it. So that, I mean,
All right, so much for that topic.
In
Paula,
between, but I wanted to jump in if I can, I
Sure.
want to ask if I would like to request that. You know, I got here at 6:06 and according to the agenda, public comment was at 6:06.
Okay, we
I
had
guess I
this,
missed
we started
public-
at 6, we just went
I
straight.
know.
So do you want to make a public comment?
I have an
Yeah.
announcement.
Sure.
Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah.
So I'm Paula Emery, I am the town representative to the Regional Planning Commission, and I wanna put it out, I'll put it on Front Porch Forum too, but. In light of all the changes that are happening with Act 250. They've decided to have the Agency of Natural Resources, I think that's what it is, Natural Resource Board. Make a special presentation to the Regional Planning Commission and all towns that are interested. So it's like Act 250 101. And I think that I just thought anybody could go, might be interesting. It's on the date is March 21st. It's at 6 p.m. And it is at the Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce Conference Room, which is at the top of the Payne Turnpike near the hospital.
You say 6?
It starts at 6, yeah, and it'll go until 8 or 8:30.
Will it be
No,
on, will
8
it be
o'clock.
on Zoom or online?
Yeah, there's a Zoom option.
Okay.
and Paula, I'm not following it that closely, but I know that there were major changes to Act 250 that were being considered by the legislature. Is that what this is about, or?
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't even know yet if they're still being considered, or if they've been approved, if they've gone through,
Right. It
so.
would be a major, it basically, and the interesting question to ask under the reforms that I read were. That they would judge Act 250 projects based on there would be 3 separate zones.
Yeah.
And depending on the zone you're in, the projects receive much less scrutiny.
Yes, there's.
So if Plainfield fell in whatever zone 1, that could actually be a very significant, because it basically might waive a lot of the paperwork for Act 250 and probably spur building. A lot of this is being driven by the housing crisis.
That and sprawl, reducing sprawl.
Yeah.
They want people to build in existing towns.
Yeah.
and
Right,
they want to
exactly right.
Make it easier for people to build in existing towns, so.
Yeah.
If you already have zoning, I think the way this works, if you already have zoning, then you don't have to get you won't have to get Act 250 in towns that already have
Right,
zoning.
so,
Yeah.
but.
Something along
Right,
those
right.
lines,
I'm
but
not-
it's super complicated.
Right, I'm oversimplifying, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Great, thanks.
Thank you for staying.
yeah,
And you're gonna
if you
post it,
wanna, you know,
you're gonna post it on Front Porch Forum.
I am.
That'd be great.
I will not put anything ever on Facebook, sorry, I'll just put it out there.
The time and place will be there, the information will be there on Front Porch.
Yeah, and it's on the Regional Planning Commission's
Okay, great.
website as well, and you could just probably look up Act 250 if you can't remember that,
Okay.
and it'll show up.
All right. Okay, next thing on the agenda, discuss illegal garbage dumping in Plainfield's town forest. Anybody kind of? We got an email from, I think it was Sarah Fowler, saying that there was a large pile of garbage laying in Plainfield Town Forest off my road. There was a farm road where you pop up someone pick up this mess. And it would be possible to have a game camera mounted to catch the illegal dumpings. I'm not sure we have any resources to clean up the mess, unless we have volunteers, but. We don't actually have, the road crew doesn't do that kind of work. and we don't
Not
have-
really,
we don't have
they've done
employees
to
that-
some degree, but I don't know how big this is. This
This is down the road, it's in the town forest, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, people dump, they donate their stuff in the village all the time, it's everywhere. People are just donating all over the place and we pick it up and put it in trash, you
Yeah.
know?
so people.
If it's not like a truckload, maybe they.
I remember seeing pictures and it was a bit
That's
more than
enough.
I would want to clean up, but.
Yeah. So-
question
It
here.
could be added to the green up day load,
Yeah.
Certainly they will be. able
Or-
to do.
ask for
Yeah.
volunteers and.
I have a question.
Yeah,
My impression, because pretty much everything in town has some responsible party.
No,
The town forest is is basically under the purview of the Conservation Commission, is my impression. And if the Conservation Commission were made aware of this, they may have a solution. mean, if they don't have a solution, they can come back to you for help, but I think that since they are basically keeping track of movement, signage, trail clearing, all the other things out there, they probably should not be told about this.
So
The other option, in the past, when we've been confronted by this, we have put some signage of no dumping, and I think there was talk at one point of putting a sign that had a camera. That just sort of, and we do have, you know, people have volunteered to give their trail cams.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if someone would be willing to temporarily donate a trail cam and pop it up there, I think that's a great idea.
And
So I'm a little unfamiliar with the location. So there's a town forest off of Taylor Farm Road.
well, I think that they don't mean the town forest, I think that they mean.
Okay,
I think
because I know
that,
where the town forest is at the end of
Yeah,
Daniel.
no,
But I'm
I
not
think that they're
familiar.
talking about off 214 and that sort of
It's the
weird,
lots that
sort
are
of
not
between
ours.
East Montpelier and.
But is it our property?
Or is it
Well,
familiar?
I don't know, I'm not 100% sure of the town.
Because
I
if it's
don't
not
think
our
that-
property, then it isn't our problem necessarily.
Right,
And that
it's true, I think, I think it is a private forest, actually, private there, but there is a problem of somebody is.
Mo Lynch, do you have a comment?
Yeah, sorry, I've had my hand up for quite a while. I had two quick comments. I was just going to reference that the Act 250 bill, which is H687, which was referred to, is still in committee. So it hasn't actually moved out. It's considered likely to move, but it hasn't moved out, and crossover is Friday. So anyways, just these changes have not yet even made it to the floor. And then I was also just going to comment that we do have folks from the Conservation Committee on, and I think clarification that this is not the town forest, and just being like specific about which parcel we're discussing would be helpful. And I think saying, you know, putting things on Green Up Day, it would be helpful to also remember that Green Up Day is a strictly volunteer effort, and so that is basically just people from the town going out and cleaning it up just at one time in one place. So I think we can certainly make a push to ask individuals to do that, but I just want to make sure that things aren't being kind of saying like, oh, Green Up Day can just kind of handle this trash when technically it is also illegal dumping. But I also just wanted to note there's other folks on the call from the Conservation Commission as well.
Thank you. Graham?
Actually, I have a question, Mo, if you seem familiar with the Act 250 reform, do you know if, or did I just lose Mo? Oh, there you are. Do you know if Plainfield is in the sort of the zone that's going to receive the largest dispensation of rules from Act 250, or are we in the?
No.
We're not, definitely not.
I can bring
No,
that.
are you referring to kind of the like designated development areas?
Yes.
I don't know the latest. It's on version like 6.1 or something, but I would not imagine. I mean, designated development areas was really designed for like high density areas, more so than something like Plainfield.
Okay.
But I can't say for sure what the latest of that is.
Isn't somebody from the town going to this meeting that?
Yeah, no, I actually can forward you. what-
Okay, great.
Okay, all right, good.
Sorry, I didn't.
So as far as the trash on, the person who complained said that the trash was off of Taylor Farm Road. So I don't know if that's our,
I think that's
anything
like,
we can do anything about.
if you turn up onto Taylor Farm Road from 214, there's
Yeah.
there's a little road that goes
Right,
back
Yeah,
there.
but that's not our property.
That's
A little bit of Taylor Farm Road at the very point where it meets 214 probably is in Plainfield. I'm not entirely sure.
But it's someone's
It's property only.
No,
Town
but
doesn't own
she,
the forest.
person suggested that it was, the trash was in the Plainfield Town Forest, so we
Oh,
clean it
oh.
up.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's on our property,
No, I
so.
agree that.
yeah.
I understand this.
Okay, moving on.
I have a question.
Approve a. Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, this is about the matter pertaining to,
This is Steve Barnum speaking out for the recording.
thank you.
Go ahead, Steve.
This is pertaining back to the subject of the road down by Goddard. And there was some comment that it may be closed for some period of time while this rebuild is taking place. And I was thinking, whenever they close Route 2, it's going to have a pretty bad impact on businesses in the village, and it's really inconvenient. And I was wondering if there's any chance that that project and our intersection rebuild with Main Street and Route 2 could happen concurrently, so the road is closed once instead of twice.
Well, I think there are two things. One, we haven't gotten confirmation from the state that this move is going to happen. So, you know, we have to hold off to see. But the other thing is, they wouldn't want to hold off. The intersection is 2028. This sounds like stuff that they'd want to address sooner rather than later. Although I totally agree with you, it would be a lot better to do it all at once. And I can, you know, talk to the powers that be, but I don't think that's going to be possible.
I would like to speak up here also to say that I actually don't agree it would be better to do them both at once because they're very different impact on the town. One thing to remember is if they close Route 2 between here and East Montpelier, which is what the outcome would be if they did, it would route traffic that's on Route 2 now to 214 and then up to 14 and back to East Montpelier. It's not going to create new traffic. It just means that if somebody in Plainfield wants to go to the Plainfield Hardware, they have to drive to North Montpelier and then East Montpelier and then back. It just increases our distance we have to drive, but it doesn't put a single additional vehicle on the road. And I don't think the traffic will increase. It will just be a huge pain in the butt.
But also the Route 2 intersection upgrade here in town, the blinking light is not expected to stop traffic flow on Route 2. It's just gonna stop it from coming into town. So Route 2 is still gonna be open right through town. And so I don't think that this project is a separate, doesn't need to be coordinated with this project because it's not gonna.
I think it's so highly unlikely that it would be anyway, that it's almost
Thanks for thinking.
not worth getting into the weeds too much.
Always good to explore different options. Okay, I think we're done with this topic. Approve the La Pearl. Approve a review committee to work on the V-Trans. I forget who put that forward. No, Alex Merrill put that forward, that we maybe should have a committee, and I think that might be a good idea, but we don't, and she suggested a whole bunch of people. And maybe what we could do is send out an email and see if these people are interested, or maybe she already knows they are. I'm just reviewing the email now. Yeah, so I think, I guess we could, what do you folks think about this?
Well, does she say that she has asked these people already?
I don't think so.
We might do that.
Sorry, I should have read that more carefully ahead of time.
It is a little. I don't really see anything.
But why don't we start with, do you think it's a good idea to have a review committee? If we think it is, then between now and the next meeting, we can reach out to these people and see if they're interested in being on it.
That sounds like the reasonable solution.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good idea. What do you think? Patty?
I think so too.
Okay,
And are these people that Alice has put together?
well, it's very, that she's recommending. I don't know if she's.
Yeah, it's not
That's what-
clear if they've said their will.
Right.
It seems presumptuous to appoint them against their will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's how we could get people to volunteer for all these town things. is
For everything, yeah.
So.
Mandatory appointments.
So I will reach out to back to Alice and to these people to explore the possibility of creating this committee, and then I will put that at our next meeting.
Alice said.
Okay, next topic. Approve the La Pearl Hole permit for use of right of way. So we got an application for approval to get for someone to put in a right of way onto. It's been approved by Mike Bingham already, the town foreman, road foreman, and it's. As an applicant, Justin La Pearl and Haley Holt have sought permission to excavate and backfill the public highway in order to put in a sewer, water and electric line, I guess, to a house. And so they need approval to do that. I'm trying to see which one, I'm trying to see where they want to do this.
Step up, they live up on.
Or which road they're talking, oh, Harvey Hill Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on Harvey Hill Road, and the road
At the
foreman,
very top.
Right.
of the end, yeah.
okay, So,
I move we approve the Pearl Holt permit for use of right of way.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. Great, thanks. And then, you guys want to authorize me to sign the permit? Oh, we all have to sign, so we can do that right now. Sure. That's what we're actually okay. Yeah.
I guess I'm watching too many movies.
Use your pen, right there.
Just not seeing it.
Okay, right there, right here, by the X,
Oops.
that's where you're supposed to sign.
Well, those are signatures, you guys?
Yeah, can't read it.
No, I know date.
Yeah, great, thank you. All right, so we got that done. Define expectations of the constable position. Hmm.
Is there a constable now?
We had appointed someone, and then I think there was an issue with pay, and then there were some other issues. I think he's still willing to do it, but I think he wants it to be defined, so he knows what he's doing,
Makes sense,
what his responsibilities are.
makes sense.
And I guess, I don't know if I'm ready to, if we're ready to.
Is there a-
Yeah, so I think we can do some research.
It would be good to weigh the constable position in light of other positions in town government when we're making, and that way we can make a decision about, you know, resources
Right.
and so forth, because it's right now, you know, there's been a sort of storied history in Plainfield of the constable, and we've evolved from having a gun carrying police officer who issued tickets to a much less, you know,
Right,
presence. The main job right now is to make sure the streets are cleared for plowing. That really is.
clear of cars.
Clear of cars.
Yeah, we have a problem with that.
Right, and then it's.
We can't find anybody who will tow cars.
Right, no, I know, it's, you have to, it's a little bit complicated, you don't, you know, all you have to do is tow one.
Yeah.
And everybody gets the message.
We
And the
tried
thing
that.
is, well, yeah, no, you have to, yeah.
Well, maybe you
it's-
could
it's
try it.
complicated. I'll talk to people.
Yeah.
May I throw out comments here?
Yeah, but I'm not quite done, explaining what the situation is, then you can, yeah, go ahead.
Well, what I was gonna say is that we have a job description in the town record somewhere for pretty much every position in town.
Right.
It's just basically a job description. And if there isn't one for constable, the first thing in terms of developing a job description would be to look at other towns.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I assumed that,
So,
but
so what I propose is, you put it in the budget. For the budget discussion next time, I, in the meantime, will look for some job descriptions from other towns. And I'll bring that to our next meeting, along with your budget recommendation, and we can talk about what we wanna do. Great,
Yeah, I agree. I kind of wonder. If we're talking about raising the budget in some places, that if the constable is something that maybe can sort of phase out in town even.
well, we've
There are
had some
towns that
problems,
don't
we've
have
had some problems, we didn't have them for a long time. And people asked us to get one because we've had two particular problems. One, dogs that are out loose and creating problems, and somebody needs to pick them up and take them to the pound or to the ASPCA, where they're supposed to take them when their owners don't take care of them properly. And the other one is cars that are in the way of.
Right, and then the dog thing can be Peter Yassis.
Well, Peter's the one who raised this, that's why it's on the agenda.
Well,
He asked for-
he doesn't grab the dogs anymore.
Well, there's been some problems with what, he wants to know what his responsibilities are, he doesn't think it's clear.
Okay,
And so
well, yeah,
that's
well,
why
once
he
again,
wants
I think a lot
a
of,
good
things. I mean, we had
Yeah.
just a little history here, we've had, you know, there have been some very scary. Dogs
know.
operations. I had one where we borrowed an animal control officer from St. Johnsbury for the day, and they wouldn't get out of the car.
Yeah,
They had a pole and everything, they wouldn't get out of the car, so, okay.
yeah, so anyway,
But,
but in the meantime, we do need to reappoint him.
can I add one
Yeah,
other thing,
sure.
which is that with the constable position, in the past, there also has been some training. which is specifically offered to town constables by the state police.
Okay,
And it's because the Brook Road. And who kids, like if kids were harassing cars or throwing things at cars, that was something he was good at, things that could fall into that position.
okay. But in the meantime, Christopher Keast is willing to continue doing it. We need to reappoint him, so.
I move that we reappoint Christopher Keast as constable with the understanding that we define his position at the next meeting.
Right, or as soon as we can.
Really clear.
Yeah,
description of
okay.
his duties.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. All right, and then we need to reappoint Betsy Siegler to the Center Vermont Solid Waste Management District.
Could I make a
Supervisor.
comment
We
here?
got a question.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Sorry for not appearing in person, but my signal is bad here, so I keep my camera shut off. Anyway, is Michael Bingham still in the room?
He never was.
Never was.
Oh, no, okay. I would have saved this comment for town meeting, but it seems like that's not happening for a while. I observed on the way home the other day, when we had this snow, that one of the lanes was plowed as I was on my way home. And it seemed like that lane was cleared pretty well. And at the same time, there wasn't a lot of material and gravel and mud in the snowbank at the edge of the road. I have no idea what magician managed to accomplish that, but my hat's off for tremendous work, clearing the road in just abysmal conditions. And I wanted to thank him for that, but if he's not there, then maybe you can pass the word on. Thank you.
Well, I'll pass it along. That's the.
Yeah, you could also just send him an email if you want.
Make sure the public.
Okay.
Can someone chat the email to me?
Yeah,
I will.
yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to comment.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
So now we need to reappoint Ziegler to the Center Vermont Solid Waste Management District Board of Supervisors for a one-year term.
I say yes.
That we reappoint Betsy Ziegler to the CVSWMD Board of Supervisors for a one-year term.
They all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Now we need to appoint Michael Billingsley as Plainfield's Emergency Management Director, Public Information Officer, and representative to the Regional Emergency Management Committee. And I would just like to thank him again for all the work he's been doing in this area, all the other work he does for the town, so.
Do you want to?
Do you want to make a motion?
Yeah.
With this?
Yeah, how do I say it?
I move we appoint.
I move we appoint Michael Billingsley as Plainfield Emergency Management Director, Public Information Officer, and representative to the Regional Emergency Management Committee.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I said two aye.
Aye, yeah, good. Well, everybody said aye.
I'm so
Great.
new.
Nailed it.
Thanks again, Michael, for volunteering.
Yeah.
Discuss request to move the 7,500 watt generator from the town hall to the municipal building. That's your suggestion.
Yeah. First of all, I should say that the 7,500 watt generator in front of Plainfield Town Hall has been maintained constantly. It's in very good shape. It is got multiple years of life left for it. It would be taken away as part of our replacing it and just basically go with just sort of the cleanup of the job. But it would be a tremendous waste to the town since we already own it.
Right.
So there are two proposals that I had basically running simultaneously. One of them is beyond, is none of you would be aware of because it precedes this particular select board. But it was that we take the output from the town's solar panels. We go to a battery bank that is, and a charge controller that would keep batteries charged up with sufficient battery bank that we would have sustainable power for the fire department. So it was the idea of not just sending that power directly to Green Mountain Power, but stopping along the way to charge the batteries so that it would, if the power went out, the fire department would always have power. That didn't move anywhere. In other words, that proposal just basically is still possible, but it hasn't actually happened, and it may still happen. But the two objectives are, first of all, to have what is called resilience, meaning when you're faced with a public disaster that affects this region, which is usually accompanied by a power blackout, if there's a storm, it often happens. And the second is continuity of government, which is the fact that you have multiple town officials who rely on electricity to do their job. And in as much as the fire chief has expressed a lack of interest in having the generator at the fire hall, my backup proposal was that we move that same generator to this building. And what it would mean is that if the power goes out on the grid, that the town clerk would not have to pack up and go elsewhere. I did set up an alternative office for the town clerk at the town hall, which includes all the things that might be needed, like a fax, a printer, landline, an emergency phone calls number that could be routed over with a message. But it would be even preferred if they could stay where they are and continue to conduct business, which the generator would allow. The actual cost to the town might be minimal. And the reason I say that is because the generosity of the Vermont Community Foundation, which provided us after we appealed for it, with the funds to do the new generator, have indicated that there could be adjacent to that the same funds to do the moving. What would, in other words, that one grant could also cover the cost of moving it here.
Okay.
If that's not the case, and we have to move it, it would be something the company that does the maintenance would do, and they're the same, one of the people bidding for the big job. So they could potentially move it here. What it would require is going to the service entrance to this building, putting a switch there that would be manually thrown. So if the grid goes out, you throw the switch and say, we're not getting the power from the grid anymore, we're getting it from the generator, and then to turn on the generator, which has a battery start. And the generator runs on propane, which is already at this building, I believe. So it just means the power would start coming from the generator. When the grid came back on, you turn off the generator, flip the switch in the opposite direction, and the grid would come back to the building. It's fairly simple wiring job compared to some of them. So it's not a huge expense.
Okay, so what are you asking from us?
I'm asking for approval so we can write it into the grant basically.
Yeah, I wanted to discuss it a little bit because I'm so confused why the fire department wouldn't want it.
I want to do
I
that
was
too.
hoping somebody would be here from that organization, but I don't see.
I can only tell you what I received in correspondence, and the
Do they have?
just well, the position is this: the fire department has a generator.
Okay,
I believe it's a 1200-watt Honda that is on wheels.
yeah,
If there is a power blackout, they move the Honda, I mean, I won't call it a Honda because I'm not sure of that, but they move the
Yeah.
generator out into the driveway and they start it up, and it's gasoline powered, and they throw a line through the window into the communications room, and that runs the lights and the radios.
and they're.
It doesn't do anything
They're
else.
satisfied.
Nothing else nothing else in the fire hall is powered up. And the fire
In that
hall,
case, it makes a lot of sense to move it to this building, even if it costs the town
yeah.
a couple $1,000s.
So we don't know what it's gonna cost yet, right?
Well, I'm gonna try.
I roughly looked into this for my own personal
I would
reasons.
say we would authorize you to look into it and come back with a concrete proposal with a price.
Well, here's the way I look at it, is I'm asking for approval to move it down there, but I'm not asking for you to pay for moving it there. In other words, if I know that I have the approval to move it here, then I can build it into the request for the cost.
Yeah, you have approval, I think I would say, and see if these two agree
Yeah.
with me, you have approval to put it in, to ask them to price it so that we can move it here, assuming we like the price.
Yeah,
We're not gonna
Yeah.
move it if we don't like the price.
right,
I think that we're all in agreement that we would like to have it here
okay.
Right,
So,
in general.
if it's
So-
feasible.
Yeah.
There are two bids, by the way, there are two bidding companies.
Yeah.
also, maybe if we could get, two things, if they could, have an idea of, placement, in terms of, the venting, and where the physically where.
It's not physically inside the building.
Right, no, I know that, but
Okay.
if it's outside the building, where.
Where's it gonna be outside the door?
Where's it gonna be? And then the other thing is that, I assume we wanna get like a 500-gallon tank or something.
Well, we don't need that because the 500-gallon tank at town hall is also providing the propane for the heating system there. It's one tank that provides both, so
But for here.
for here, it would probably be more like a 150 or something, but.
Okay, but I'm just saying, we should have that as part of.
Right.
Is this building not heated by?
I think,
I thought this was oil, but maybe.
Oh,
I don't.
I just assumed it was propane for some reason.
yeah, but if the contractor that does the winning bid for the replacement of the generator at the town hall, does have this information in hand, this request in hand.
Yeah,
We are doing a site visit with each company where they're gonna visit here and they're going to visit.
kind of say where we'll be.
It's already, okay, so that's already going in, yeah. And by the way, there's no, as far as I know, there's no concrete needs to be poured, it's on a concrete pad, but the pad can be moved also. So it's a pre-poured pad.
Okay.
And just for venting and stuff, that's all.
Yeah.
That's where they're gonna exhaust right into someone's bedroom window.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
please remember that this is only gonna be
Running.
running where it is. And
Yeah.
so if we're in the middle of a disaster and there's a.
People will be, from there will be in here trying to charge their phones.
I know. Yeah,
Okay.
and so therefore, yeah.
And you feel like, and everyone feel like it was the best place for it, you guys been talking about it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know that you had said that the town hall was a place where people came when there was.
So they're gonna put.
No.
They're much better one there.
Yeah,
And then
We're talking about moving the old one to here,
let me really quickly just say, the
Yeah,
municipal
yeah.
building.
rather
here,
than throwing it out.
the town clerk's office here has no power when the power goes out. We have always intended to have power at the town hall. And that will, if we get this bigger generator, become our town shelter
I gotcha.
also. This is not gonna be the
Yeah,
shelter.
but then the existing generator would be moved here to run the town office.
That's correct.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Paula?
it's up there.
When this is over and for the next thing, I just have two
Okay.
quick
I
things.
think this is over, so you're right.
It's over.
One, Alice is here, and two,
And she has her hand up.
yeah, and
Oh.
two, I looked up on the parcel viewer, that is, it's like a very edge of Plainfield, and it is Rio Wilson and Rick Levy's property, it's the
Where-
very
You tell me where the
backside.
trash is? Yeah, okay. Alice, do you have a comment? With some advice? Alice Merrill, you're muted.
Oh, here, I'll text her
Too
again.
long, too
We're
long.
texting.
Right, we can move on until, and she can interrupt us when she gets in. We need to approve warrants and fleet, there are no fleet permits. The warrants that we have are the ones listed here, accounts payable, March 4th, 24, March 6th, 24, March 7th, 24. And payroll, February 29th, 24, and March 8th, 24. Can you get a motion to approve those?
Can I approve that?
Yeah,
I approve of warrants and
move to approve,
I move to approve
yeah.
of warrants and fleet permits for all the stuff, accounts payable, payroll and fleet permits.
Great.
Fleet permits.
Right, no free for. All right, all in favor?
Alright,
Aye,
I,
great. And then Alice, did you have anything you want to add or ask?
you should try calling her.
I'm just gonna call her and say, wow.
What we can
Wait a
do.
minute.
Alice, do you know that you are muted?
This looks like,
Paula's gonna go call her.
From.
Is she right here?
People are writing.
I gotta go look at the computer.
Some people are writing in the chat, we can't see the chat, so that doesn't help us.
It's,
Oh, Tim is gonna look right now.
Oh, we got fine when you're on some of that,
Oh, here's Alice.
She can't, for some reason, her thing won't unmute, so here you are, Alice, you're in the meeting.
Yeah, I apologize for that. So two things, I don't know if I shared this with.
Alice, can you mute your computer?
I'm sorry, say it again, Polly.
Can you mute your computer? We're hearing it in the
We're
background.
getting read feedback.
Like, just turn the volume off on your Zoom call.
How's that?
That's better. Can you hear her? Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So two things. I worked with Michael on the grant for the generator, and I have been speaking to Vermont City Foundation about them also covering the move of the generator to another location, and they're fine with that. They will cover.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And I apologize for missing my slot on the agenda. I'm not sure, could you guys tell me what you discussed for the review committee for the V-Trans project?
Oh, yeah, like that, I'm going to talk to you some more about that and then get some recommendations for, put together a recommendation for doing this and who's gonna be on it.
Okay,
So
just let me be very clear that this is not a committee that is going to have a lot of power in terms of the determining any parts of the project. It's simply a review committee to look at the design that V-Trans will present to the town. When I spoke to Ken Robbie, the engineer we're working with, he said that it would be about looking at the functional and aesthetic aspects of the project and bringing any recommendations to the select board about those two aspects. So I just want to be clear that we've already gone through extensive town process and getting input. V-Trans has the ball now. They're slowly running with it. And I think that these reviews will come when they're 30% done with the design, 60% and 90%.
So I have a question, the people that you listed in your email, are those people, have you already talked to them, are they interested in doing this, or those are just people you hope would be interested?
I haven't talked to all of them. I've talked to some of them. I
Okay.
would have to get final say if they're willing to do this. I can tell you that I chose, of course, our road crew
Right,
and the plant operator. I would think that maybe Tim Phillips from the commission might want to be added on to that. As you know, Jim, Susan Grimaldi is invaluable for historic reference, and that's a project. Keith Swan, because he's the Opera House guy. Jane Bradley has had ADA experience at Goddard professionally, working out a design for the campus. Paula represents us at regional planning, and she suggested that maybe Bob Ashton, who's the V-Trans person representing us, would like to be included. And Tammy Farnham, because she's already worked with V-Trans in that locale on the Main Street Bridge and already has a good working relationship with them to the point where they decided it was fine that she would be our local project manager for that project.
yeah, okay, great.
That's my reason.
So we're all in favor of putting together such a committee, so I will reach out to these people and ask if they're interested in being on it. And then I think they can organize themselves if they want to go forward and decide for themselves how they want to meet and how often when they want to meet and how often they want to meet.
No, it's really not up to them. It's
Oh.
about Ken Bobby and him saying, Alice, we need to have a meeting. He's the
Okay.
guy who's leading the, sailing the ship.
Okay, so then should I reach out to them and tell them to be in touch with you about this, or?
Yes.
Okay, great, that's what I'll do. And when I reach out to them, I guess I'll copy you, so you'll be involved and you'll know what I'm doing.
Great.
Great, sounds good, thanks a lot, Alex.
Thank you, Paula.
Bye, Alice.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Paul.
everybody.
All right,
And
See you
before you adjourn, I have a related question that I didn't bring up on my segment, I just remembered, which is, did the town clerk or anyone receive a letter of interest from the person I had suggested for emergency management coordinator, Lori Stratton? Did anyone hear from her?
I
I think I've heard from her, hang on.
Because that was going to be on tonight's agenda to appoint her as.
We could still do that if I have the email, hang on, I think I might, just one second.
I just want to.
You need to leave, okay.
Yeah, thanks you.
Thanks for.
Bye. Thank you for everything.
Lori Grenier?
No, Lori Stratton.
Oh, no, I only got something from Lori Grenier,
It wasn't about this.
yeah.
I made it.
I was confusing, it was the wrong one.
Okay.
I don't have it from her either, so.
The reason there is any pressing, I mean, I'll bring it up the next select board meeting if I can get her to write that letter. But the reason it's important is that our next deadline is with the Regional Planning Commission to provide, actually with the state to provide an updated local emergency management plan. There's a deadline for that, to keep us in compliance with our state, and having her involved before that happens would be great.
Okay, yeah, figured. and you have to send us an email. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
right.
Keep her interested.
Yeah.
Get her interested.
I think she's gonna stay interested.
Good. All right, and then I think we done or?
I think there is one more thing before we adjourn, the approval of draft minutes.
Oh, yeah, so you want to make a motion on
I
that?
move we approve draft minutes for 2/26/24.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we want to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, I move we adjourn.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you, everybody.
Done. Thank you for everything.
Well, thank you. Glad you're here. And you guys, we have some stuff we have to sign. So hang on a second. Sign here. Well, we did one. No, I have to sign this one. You guys signed the other one already, right?
You did the one for the.
Oh, we already did it. All right, that's all. Good job.
Got it?
I'm sorry. Oh, there's-
Okay.
there's one more.
I wanted to inform you tonight, a good thing.
Oh, good.
There were two projects that we were going to need to go forward with at the town hall if it became an official shelter. The first one was to get
We're still live on this recording and we're at to close the meeting, so
Yeah,
it
yeah.
feels like if we all talk about it.
Yeah, no, I just.
It's all right.
You.
Okay, as long as we don't say anything.
I don't have to say anything. Yeah, I'll send you all, but it's just faster. So there were two projects. One is to get an air conditioner so we could offer a cooling shelter in the summer. And the second is so that we would build a floor underneath the town hall stage that would allow us to store our shelter stuff there. Well, the cost of the floor was the next thing I was going to explore, and I ended up having it offered to us for free. So there's a group in Barry called Project Hope, and we were talking about households who needed post-flood help, and they ended up connecting with a contractor.
Great, so this is for the town hall opera?
It's going to be a subfloor underneath the stage.
Oh, right, okay, and it's Keith Swan, and those folks are all there.
Keith knows about this,
Okay.
but we didn't know how it was going to be paid for. Now it's been given.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks, Michael, have a good evening.
Yeah.
And thank both of you. And you're gonna shut everything down. Thanks.
Continue the tech guy, huh?
No.
Well, you know,
There's a piece of paper right here,
You
that's
know-
step by step everything I need to do.
he knows how to read and
Yeah.
he's not scared to
Yeah,
use these.
that's the